But anyway, let's get jump back into more of your current stuff. Randy, you just put out a record. It's called Mountains of what's it?
Faith.
Faith. Okay, I was gonna say I had it right there and it fell apart. So yes, Mountains of Faith. It's like 10 songs. I think this is the first time you've put out a record in a few years. So
9 years, man. It's been
yeah,
forever. You know,
since the one I played on the June Bugs and Journeyman.
and June Bugs and Journeyman, yes, yeah, which was a super great record and really fun to work on. But I definitely learned a bunch of stuff to do this record, and it was kind of as far as my end, I feel uh, like there were bugs that I needed to iron out. Like you learn something every time you make a recording, and I felt like this one flowed uh, in a way that I wish Junebugs and Journeyman would have. Not that it didn't flow, but it was like there were technical things that I did that I wish I had known better about. That now I was able to like fully implement through using Pro Tools, having it's it was they're both cool records and they're both standalone records, but this one I feel like sonically when I put it on I was able to achieve more of the loopy sounds that I love so much.
Yeah, and too, you did that. I mean, it was like almost 10 years ago, back when the technology was, you could make records in your bedroom, but it was different then, And I also remember you worked with our friend Alan, and so that was, in some ways a bit of a challenge too, because you're trying to get your vision across to another person who has the engineering skills, and you guys aren't together all the time. And I can see that one being a bit more of a challenge. But now this, you did it all yourself, right?
Recorded it all in my room with Pro Tools, whereas before I was using ADATs
Yeah.
and and
And he
I
was building it with Ableton, I believe, right? Right.
and mixed it with Ableton. Yes. This time I recorded everything in my room or around the house. If I had to record piano, we'd bring the mics into the other room,
Yeah.
um, and then gave it to my buddy Matt Morano to mix back in when I was finally done with it. Like this, it definitely took a few years of me being frustrated, having demos, finding old stuff, and then unearthing it, and then putting it back together with new elements, and to come up with this record. There were two songs that I mixed myself. I think tracks 8 and 10, Travel Song and Call of the Faraway Hills, which is the theme from this movie Shane. I did that for my wife, for my father-in-law when he passed away. I did this arrangement of the song because it was a song that he loved.
I remember hearing about that via, I think, a post in the old social media world. Um, Actually, that brings me to a lot of, you've put up these videos of you doing just some of the really really awesome stuff. You and a camera and a guitar, and I love that kind of stuff too. I mean, I really love this record in that it's and it's a little bit of that simplistic stuff, but then it's also you've got drums and other instruments and other players. But yeah, there's something about like like the clip that you have of you playing Paris, Texas, the Ry Cooder thing.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, just like sitting in a on the steps of I don't know whose house that was, but like your family's house or something like that. It's just a really cool thing, and I just love the way of capturing something as simple as that. So, but let's actually keep going with that. I was going to play a little clip of Moons and Stars. This is the opening track from the record. Do you have your guitar ready? Like you wanna rock a little bit of it, or do you want me to play it and then we can do
Oh
something?
no, give it a play.
Okay, good. All right, so this is Moons and Stars from Mountains of Faith by Crowsong.
When the stars up in the sky shine down on your pale
So good, man.
Right on.
All right, I'm gonna fade it down. You guys, you only get like an iTunes worth of that one. That's a minute and 30 seconds, and now you got to go buy it. How's that?
Yeah, or you could stream it from Bandcamp. You could just stream it there, and there's no price requirement. You can
Yeah.
like for whatever you feel like spending on it. You can.
However, Bandcamp, it does a really great thing. Every first Friday of the month, they are giving 100% of all sales to the artist. So if you want to support great musicians, just remember the first Friday of the month is the good time to buy. Although I should say this, Bandcamp is really a great site, and a great institution, I think, for music nowadays, because when you consider how the music industry has routinely ripped people off over decades and decades and decades. And now it seems like with the streaming world, they're still, pulling that same kind of move. Fortunately, we have an organization like Bandcamp, which gives a really, really great royalty rate. I mean, when you buy a track there, whether it's Name Your Price or it's set, they take, I think, 15%, which is
15%. Yeah, no, it's totally reasonable and wonderful.
so
They're
cool. Yeah,
really great. I'm totally psyched releasing the record on Bandcamp.
and again, to give them some more kudos, they're doing great, and it proves the fact that you don't have to be a scumbag. You know what I mean? You don't have to shark people and pull these weird back deals and all the things that we've heard time and time again about various record company industry folks pulling on either suspecting or unsuspecting artists. I mean, the list of awful stories, from Jimi Hendrix to the Beta Band, you know, just goes on down the road. But fortunately, we have Bandcamp, which is a really good bastion of cool in the world. Because we know we're not making money performing because nobody's really doing that right now, which is sad. Um,
I discovered Bandcamp a few years ago when my band Jaws, the band that I used to play with in the 90s, we remastered and re-released a record that had been out, I think, 25 years. So it was 17, I guess.
yeah.
And then they seemed like the logical place to go to for the new record. And my buddy Adriano got it together, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the record really came out great. In particular, that song "Moons and Stars" is really, really great. I love the way that it sounds. I love the vibe of it. It seems. I mean, you can tell the influences, but they're not so derivative, and it's becomes like one thing. Plus, also, aside from like I said, your talents as a songwriter and as a guitar player, your singing style I think is really unique.
Well, about the singing, my friend AJ sings the high vocal on that. So that's me singing two vocal parts that come in and out.
Yeah.
And then AJ singing the high one. And man, he's an amazing singer who has this band called the Sutras. And they're one really wonderful band from upstate New York. And now he lives out here, and we're good friends. And so before everything was locked down, we were over here tracking, and he played some piano and harmonium on the record. Played, I got an old like electric piano from the 60s that in my recording room that I actually got from Blue Bear like
Oh yeah.
20 years ago.
Wow. Cool.
It's a cool old keyboard. He played that, but on Moon and Stars, he sings the one of the harmony parts, and I couldn't be happier with it. Like I used to sing it with my wife all the time, and she would sing the high part. I wrote that song right after my dog passed away, and I was like out every morning, like walking the streets at about 4:30 to 5, trying to find my cat that had run away.
I remember this time.
Oh, it was terrible, and I was
having health issues too at the same time. It was just like I felt so bad for you, man.
yeah. So I remember looking up at the moon in the sky and coming up with the lyrics to that song. When the stars up in the sky shine down on your pale eyes, know I'm somewhere real close by, dreaming of you. And then just the lyrics came together with that song. They presented their own melody, but then they had this second part, and it was way outside of my range. So AJ, I got him to sing it, and he fucking sings like just amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It sounds really great.